Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Younger Scrolls, the premier time-traveling podcast where the Elder Scrolls go back in time and are younger and more angsty and generally just don't even talk about the Elder Scrolls.
Oh, we will.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be a staple. We at least have to mention it.
I suppose that would make sense, yes. All right, so
All right.
I guess I'll just, I don't know, come up with something and we'll just get started. And
that was the intro.
Darn it, why do you keep doing that? All right, fine. There we go. Okay, we're in the podcast.
Yep.
We're going to have a terrible intro every single time, and every single time you're just going to say, no, run with it. The show must continue.
Yes, running gag started right now.
It's a terrible running gag, but all right. We are November 15th. This is our second episode. Yes, we've survived to a second episode, which is more than I would have expected, but...
Yes, and I'm still an American.
He's still an American. He's and I'm still a Canadian. Although I suspect that the reason you might still be American is because our immigration site went down.
That's why I can't get in?
Yeah, it could be. It actually it crashed.
Because I wanted to know that. Because after Brexit happened, a lot of English people were applying for Irish passports because Northern Ireland is part of the UK, but the southern country isn't.
Okay.
So you're part of Ireland, you're still in the EU. So I was thinking, how many people are applying for Canadian passports for the same reason?
Yeah. So
and apparently a lot.
Yeah. So to give a little bit of context, before we go ahead and start talking about that, or actually maybe we'll just talk about that later. Crap, I really don't like this starting.
Well, that kind of bleeds into the major thing. Trump's the damn president, and I'm not happy about that.
Okay, that's basically what I was thinking. I was trying to get at. I was like, well, let's go ahead and establish the context here, in case somebody finds this in some sort of weird time capsule in the future, and they're like, what are these people talking about?
Yeah, unlike some people, I actually voted.
Really? You vote?
Yeah. Oh, yes, all the time. I actually vote, and I went, nope, I don't like either candidates. I'm voting for Libertarian.
Cool. Yeah, when I was watching it, I pretty much didn't have a choice because it was everywhere. But I'm watching it. I'm going, you know what? Honestly, I would not vote for either one of these jokers. Seriously,
You're definitely not.
No, I could not have. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit over here with Trudeau and just look all smug.
Well, I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I posted, it was like election morning. I said, watching 13 Hours, Secret Wars of Benghazi. I'm watching that on the election day because I had just bought it like the previous day.
Oh, man. We've come out and said it. Trump is the president. How do you feel about that?
President-elect.
Sorry. He's going to be the president. Sorry, yes. President-elect.
And immediately he already said he's going to deport 2 to 3 million undocumented immigrants. I'm going, if they're undocumented, how do you know there's that many?
And
where did you come up with that figure? And how are you going to track people that are not documented?
I'm sure that there's some sort of means. Well, because they have an estimate, but who knows how close the estimate actually is. But wait, so
I have a much better way of dealing with these illegals.
Okay.
You round them up and you make them join the army. You want to be here, you got to fight for it.
That's kind of reminds me of the French did something like that, wasn't there? The
Foreign Legion.
The Foreign Legion, that's what it was. That's right. And if you served,
the British had one too.
That's right, the French Foreign Legion, and when you served through there, then you could gain your citizenship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about that idea.
Obviously, you'd have to have regulations on it because you don't want 90-year-old grandpa.
Yeah, exactly.
Joining the military. Like, no pun intended, your grandfathered in.
Yeah, exactly. So I hadn't heard that because I don't know. Where did you hear that news? I tried to stay away from any sort of
That was what I don't even know what channel it was on, but that was on the news. Well, I was at work. It was on the TV.
Okay. See, I've tried to avoid news, and actually I've tried to avoid everything because I don't trust anyone at this point. Like, I don't trust anything.
What about John Oliver? Do you trust John Oliver?
Sorry, the comedians are about the only people I trust at this point.
No, but he does the news.
I know. And like I said, the comedians are the only ones I trust. I don't regularly watch him, but if he were to say something, I'd probably be like, okay, I'll consider what he's saying, because they tend to be the only people who have the balls to actually just sort of tell the truth, because, the truth is funny. So
yes, especially him, because apparently at one point your prime minister was a coke addict.
Really?
Or as somebody who was running for the prime minister.
I don't know this. I do know that
he mentioned that there was a prime minister that I think he was running for it, running for re-election, and it was just found out that he had spent money on coke and hookers.
Wait. Are you talking about the was it Toronto mayor?
Maybe it was that guy.
Something Ford or something, right?
I don't remember.
I've already forgotten his name. He passed away not too long ago. Rob Ford.
Maybe.
Yeah, Rob Ford was the mayor, I think, in Toronto.
The sad thing is I know more about British politics than I do Canadian politics, and your politicians are a lot closer to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I think it might have something to do with the fact that, when we had Harper for quite a while, I felt like Canada kind of just sort of fell into the shadows with him because we were like so conservative. We did like hardly anything. We basically became irrelevant. I found with him. I found there was a lot more talk about Canada and stuff, before him, and especially now after him. Now that we've gotten Trudeau, I find there's a lot more talk about Canada. Canada's a lot more significant than it used to be. But what was it? That was a long 12 years where we just started to sort of fade into obscurity, despite being huge geographically. Anyways,
on my channel on Azrael Enterprise, I have the pocket bios, right?
Yep.
And I remember that I had asked you if there was any one specific Canadian you could have a bio on.
Oh yes.
And you gave me some guy's name.
Yes. You wanted to use.
It was a military guy.
Yeah. It was.
I think Brock or something. Brock.
Something Major. Leo Major. It was Leo Major. He was a World War II. Basically, he was like Canadian Rambo. The guy was, it's obvious listening to the stories about him that the man was just insane. He had a death wish. He didn't care. But the stuff he pulled off and the victories that he was responsible for, it's like, this guy is a real life Rambo. He had to be unhinged in some way to be able to do this stuff. But
that won't be for a very long time. Because obviously the series is in chronological order.
Oh, okay.
It's based off when they were born.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here like, British politics. Who the hell was the first prime minister? Oh, that guy. He's now on the list. And I forgot the guy's name. So somewhere on here is some guy, the first prime minister of Canada.
John A. Macdonald, right? I think. Oh no, please don't. We're recording this. I can't be embarrassed. It's John A. Macdonald, right?
I don't remember.
Google, please save me.
No, okay, that's where I got Brock from, because I got Major General Sir Isaac Brock. But he was born in 1769, so that's definitely not the guy you're talking about.
No. Okay, yes. John A. Macdonald, I was right.
When was that guy born?
I don't know. I just know his term was in 1867 to 1873.
I don't even see him on here.
I'm sure you could look that up. Look that up later. So I guess yeah. I shouldn't be expecting any sort of info on Jean Chrétien, who was our prime minister a little while back.
Is he alive?
Yes, he is alive.
That he's not on the list.
Darn it.
That's one of the things, though. One of the criteria to get into pocket bios is you have to be dead. I don't want to have to make the video and then have to make a part 2 because they kept living.
You're like, I just want to be done with them.
I don't want to have to make updates because this person continued to do things.
Yeah. Well,
I'm specifically waiting for, it's kind of crappy to say, but I'm waiting for Clint Eastwood to die before I put him on the list. Because he may make another film. He's a director now.
Oh, please don't.
Because I think he was born in 1912.
Oh, dang, yeah. If that's true, then dang, yeah. He's really 12? That would make him over 100 years old.
Or 1922 then.
Okay, that's maybe a little bit. I was like, dang. Now, before we continue with this, because I feel like we kind of segued into another topic. We were talking about the president, but at this point here, maybe give a little bit more context. We're talking about, we didn't even introduce you. We're talking about Brian's, his YouTube channel, what he does. And basically, one of the things that we're talking about right now is he does videos on, as we've been discussing, historical figures. And by historical, we mean people who are already dead, so they can't mess up with his workflow or mess up his workflow.
Yes. I'm actually looking up where is it? So Stan Lee was born in 1922.
Okay.
Clint Eastwood in 1930.
So you're like
it's Buzz Aldrin, Clint Eastwood, Sean Connery, and Frank Lucas, all 1930.
So you're kind of like a corner of the historical video world. You like working with dead people.
Yes. And Donald Trump was born in 1946.
A lot of info there.
Yeah, he's also on this list.
That's right, because he's pushing. What is he?
He's not old enough.
No, I'm trying to think. Age-wise, he's about. No, he's. I can't math right now. He's about 80, right? 46 would make sense-ish, maybe.
Was it 46?
Yeah. 46. That would be 60 plus the 10 to bring it up to 2016 would be about
60.
60. Really? I thought he was older than that for some reason.
Because 86 would make him 20.
No, he's got to be 70.
He's at least 60. Let's put it that way.
Well. Oh man, that's one of the problems of doing sort of like a podcast like this. You're like you could sound stupid, and then you don't want to sound stupid.
You know what? He's not my president, so I don't care how old he is. I didn't vote for him.
Yeah, it's 70. I'm right. It was 70. I don't know what.
I would have rather vote for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, honestly, out of all the candidates that I saw, that's probably the only candidate I would have voted for had I been an American.
You mean you wouldn't have voted for Ted Cruz?
Oh, dear goodness, no.
The only Canadian that ran for the president of America?
And possibly the only person creepier than Trump?
Oh, no, he's vice president.
Oh, that's true. It's true.
That guy, he thinks it's the he is coming to terms with this not being the 1940s. He wants to like change everything, that women are not allowed to have money and stuff. That guy's nuts.
Oh, okay.
That guy apparently he makes Trump look normal.
That's the old idea, you know.
And that's bad.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whole thing of how do you look thinner? Hang out with people fatter than you. Well, I feel it's kind of like what Trump is doing. He's like, how do I look better? I'll surround myself with crazy.
Well, it's a very good tactical thing. If your vice president is worse than you, no one's going to assassinate you.
Oh, that's a good point, because you become president. Oh man,
because then you get the crazy guy. You get the even worse person is now in charge.
Oh, well, but then then they would have to try to take out both. Oh, that's funny. I like that idea. You choose someone who's absolutely terrible, worse than you. But wait. What? But then you have there's one major thing you have to take into account.
What?
What if the person
double homicide?
What if the person, the vice president, has aspirations to be the president? Then he's the one who's gunning for you. And if he's crazier than you, he might just go ahead and do it.
I don't know. It's just a risk you gotta take then.
I don't know. I think I'd just rather surround myself with decent people.
At one point, the way they did it, how they selected the vice president was completely different. That if I'm running for president, I didn't say Bernie Sanders is going to be my vice president. No, you ran by yourself. The second and then say Ted Cruz. Let's like in this situation where it's Trump and Hillary. You know, Donald wins. Hillary comes and she doesn't win. She's now vice president automatically. They would do it that the first runner-up became the vice president. Which I like that idea, but not for this election.
No, well, I also see
it would have been a lot worse.
Yeah, and I also see some flaws with that as well, because you also got to consider, you know, well, let's go ahead and swap things. Let's say Hillary had won, and then Trump became vice president. To me, taking a part of the equation out, that, you know, technically Sanders had more support, I think, than Trump. So would Trump really deserve to be the vice president, or would it make more sense to have maybe have a separate vote, or to look at the overall numbers to see who should have been the vice president? I don't know. The idea, it's kind of good in a way, because you know like, well, the people got their second choice, but when you're only given two choices, it's kind of a broken way of doing things.
Well, that's the other thing. Back then, they had more than two choices.
Yeah, exactly. It's
because you had all the different parties. There were like now you have the major parties and then third party, which is basically every other political party is wrapped under third party. So even the National Socialist Democratic Republican Party is there, or the American Communist Party is sitting in there. And yes, there is a Nazi party in America.
Lovely.
Like the one thing though that I found out through another YouTuber called Grade A Under A. Okay. I'm not sure if you've heard of him.
Nope.
All right, he's from England. He made a video on the presidency, and he happened to mention something. I was like, you bastard! Had I heard of this, had you put this video out a few hours earlier, I would have been able to use something in that video in a discussion from work where somebody was like, you threw your vote away because you voted third party.
Ugh.
And what he said was in the video, it's not throwing it away. that if Gary Johnson gets 5% of the vote, the next time the Libertarian Party runs, they get a $50,000 bonus for just being there.
Yep.
And they get moved out of being independent party to a minor party.
Yep.
Which would guarantee them more coverage next time. Like, I tried to help them.
No,
tried to help the libertarians.
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't understand that whole thing of you threw your vote away, and it's like no. See, I don't get that. That's kind of backwards thinking. You should.
If I was going to throw my vote away, I would have just voted for Louis Black,
or just not voted. See,
yeah.
Ultimately, what to me, okay. See, here's the problem because people view voting as this really weird, gotta win, rather than trying to support someone you actually want. A lot of people tend to view it as doing what you need to do to make sure that the person you don't want doesn't get voted in. And so, it's kind of creates this sort of environment of sort of strategic voting. I know when we up here, for example, when we had our last election, a lot of people who had it with our conservative party, some people who might have normally voted NDP, New Democratic Party,
I was like, wait a minute, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, they rather than voting for the NDP, they figured, well, rather than splitting the vote, we really want the conservatives out. They switched their vote to the Liberal Party. So what happened, what a lot of people did was rather than really voting for who they wanted, they voted against, or they voted for who they knew would beat the party they didn't want. And that is a really part of a problem. And one of the main, we'll say, issues that I voted on in our last election was the idea of electoral reform, or redoing the entire election system, because as it stands, it's this sort of first past the post system, right? And basically, the conservatives in Canada here, they had a majority government, right? So they had the total power, but they only had like a third of the vote. They didn't even have the popular vote across Canada, but because of the way our system runs, they made it past a certain point and they got power, even though they didn't have the complete popular vote. And that's the kind of, we'll say, broken system that causes this need for sort of strategic voting. And
wait, is first past the post where you choose your you have the four options and you choose like your first pick, your second pick, third pick?
No, that would be, I'm trying to remember. No, first past the post is probably closer. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing you guys have, except we have more parties. So basically,
we have lots of parties. Our media just doesn't talk about them.
Yeah, and we tend to have, we've got several parties, but I usually in the media see at least, like there's the big two, there's the Conservative and the Liberal Party, but then you also hear a lot about the NDP, the Green, and sometimes you hear about the Bloc Québécois.
What?
The Bloc Québécois.
What does that translate to English?
The Bloc Québécois. Well, Québécois would be, it's Quebec, and so I'm trying to think here.
I gotta tell you something about
Quebec. The Quebec Bloc. I never thought about sort of doing an actual translation of it. I would say it's. I have to look at the way it's spelled, but I'm pretty sure it's basically just Quebec Bloc. I'll have to double check that. But yeah, so we have the two main parties, but then there's the other ones who can be sort of competitive. Like the NDP a little while back had a lot of support and
hold on. Is it BLOC space QUEBECIO or OIS?
I have a confession. When people spell things out loud, I have a really bad time with it. Give me a second. Blah, spell it out myself.
Because I typed in Quebec Bloc on Bing, and it comes up as Bloc Québécois at Wikipedia.
Yeah, BLOC and then Québécois. So it's QUE with the accent, B accent aigu, COIS.
Right, yeah, and it was founded in 1991. Split from the Progressive Conservative Liberals. They have 10 seats in the House of Commons.
Yeah, so there's
defections. Make this seem like that's military.
Yeah, so there's like I said, it's we definitely don't have it as bad as the States. The States is basically just two parties, and the other ones are kind of like, oh yeah, and then we have the little guys over there.
Speaking about the little guys, there's one little guy that I got to mention.
Okay, let's hear it. Vermin Supreme.
Finish with the Quebec.
Well, I was just mentioning them. Like when I was mentioning the different parties, I didn't really have too much more else to add about them.
There's another political party that I I don't think it's in Canada, but I know it's like there's a couple European countries that have it. I think Sweden. I think they're like half in Sweden or something. It's the Pirate Party.
Yep, Pirate Party.
Right? That's in Canada?
No, I not that I'm aware of. If it is, it's beneath my radar. But no, I've heard about it.
Because the Pirate Party in the United States of America, which I gotta specify that now, because there's two places called the United States, because it's the United States of Venezuela.
Huh.
That's the official name.
Yeah, but most people just call it Venezuela.
I've also heard that Canadians hate being called Americans.
Yes.
Even though we live on the continent called America.
Yes. Well, it's basically, you could go ahead and say, I think it's actually because of the connotation, because people have labeled the people from the United States so much as Americans that we're like, no, we're not American. My people
who are lazy and don't want to vote and fix and change shit. And then it's the Canadians. Oh, you hurt yourself? Come, free health care. Oh, you can't pay for it? Don't worry. Go.
Yeah, well, like I definitely will say, I might be biased because, I grew up here. But then again, I've also seen the other side of the coin because I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but my wife is American.
Your wife is from America, yeah. And she was completely freaking out. We're like, oh my God, where the hell did I move to?
Yeah.
The big news is they put in a stop sign.
Yeah, exactly. So but the thing is, I don't want to be, we'll say arrogant. Like, yes, we do a lot of things right, but Canada is by no means a perfect country. That we have our fair share of screw ups and problems as well. Just putting that out there.
Prostitution's legal there.
Is it?
At least it is in the Quebec part.
Why were you looking this up? He's like,
no. I went Niagara Falls.
He's like, factors for me to go to Canada. Is prostitution legal?
In Niagara Falls on the Canadian side, there were prostitutes walking all over the place.
How do you know? Were they wearing name tags?
Yes. And then they heard American accents and they turned around.
Now they just heard your money. It's like, oh, American dollars. Those are worth a lot more.
No, I think at the time we went there, I think the Canadian dollar was like 50 cents over the US dollar.
I don't think that's ever happened.
And it was like that 1 week that the Canadian dollar was it was like they were practically even. It was ridiculous. It's not like it's the US dollar to a yen.
Okay. Yeah, well, we were close to parity at one point, and I think we may have gone over a little bit, but that lasted.
This was about the 90s.
Yeah, it was a very short amount of time.
Because like I said last time, it's pretty much American dollar. It converts to Canada, just add $2. That's Canadian money. It's always seemed like it's Canadian is $2 more.
Close.
For
the longest,
you guys don't have a penny anymore, right?
No, we don't have the penny anymore.
That's another good thing. Another cool thing about Canada.
Our dollar is so pathetic that we can't do anything with pennies.
The penny. I'm a part of that group that want to get rid of the penny.
Okay. Well, I think the problem is that the penny was just so useless. If I could have still bought like 1 cent candies at the corner store, I would have been fine with keeping the penny. But I couldn't even buy that, so I was like, what's the point? Get rid of the penny.
I don't know about how the Canadian mint works, but America, it's this part of America. It costs more than a penny to make a penny.
I believe it.
It's 1.6 cents to actually make a penny.
Huh.
And then like to make a nickel, which is 5 cents, it's like I think that costs like 3 cents. So that makes sense. That
makes sense.
That's okay.
That makes sense. Oh, come on.
I'm trying not to say too much sense because it gets confusing.
The pun was there.
That's okay because it actually is worth more than it makes, but the penny is worth less than what it costs. Get rid of it. And it's not like we've done this before. We had the half cent that we got rid of.
The half cent?
There was a half cent.
Oh yeah, I guess that would make sense.
And it was the same thing. It cost an entire penny to make a half penny. So they got rid of it.
Yeah, because if I'm remembering correctly, I could be totally off on this one, but like the penny used to actually be worth. It was basically the buying power. Like we're talking way back in the day. Like a penny would be like the buying power of like say $1. It's obviously not like our modern penny. But then as we'll say the inflation type things happen, it got devalued. So you start creating larger denominations until eventually it becomes useless. So eventually $1 will become as useless as the penny, and then we'll have to create a new unit of measurement to replace the dollar or something.
I actually now this is where I get like crazy. I would be happy with them just removing the nickels, dimes, and pennies, and just use 50-cent pieces and quarters, and that's it.
No. I feel like that's too much rounding. That's not because I don't like rounding, but because I feel like in a way you could be losing more money that way. Things would become kind of a little bit more expensive. Sure, it's just a little bit here and there. Like think about this. Let's just say we make it a $50. Okay, we make a rounding to like a 50-cent coin. All right.
No, there is a 50-cent coin.
Okay, well let's just go ahead and say that that's the only coin that we use.
They don't really print. They don't mint it so often, so nobody even knows the damn thing exists.
Yeah. So
like the $2 bill.
So let's say we're going to go ahead and use that, and then somebody sells something, and it is comes up to I don't know $1.60 or no sorry like $1.75. $1.75. Well, then you're basically paying an extra, we'll say technically 25 cents on, we'll say that one thing due to rounding. Now, you multiply that over several purchases and you're losing many dollars. I don't feel like the money has become devalued enough to the point where the coins should be, we'll say, that we should be doing that much rounding because in a way, well, I guess it would even out a bit because if something was a little bit lower in price, you'd just be rounding down to the nearest 50 cent. But I still feel like it's a little bit too early to be making a move like that.
Well, we could at least get rid of the damn penny.
Yeah, okay. I'm behind the penny. You can get rid of the penny.
And you guys, I heard that there's no Canadian dollar bill.
There used to be, but
that's a coin.
Yeah, they're not anymore. There used to be actually, I think I might have one somewhere. Yeah, we also had $2 bills as well, and I know for a fact I've got about 8 of those sitting around here.
There's one day I go into the bank, and it's one of those, oh my God, lady, would you hurry up kind of moments. Like they're taking forever, and I figure out why they're taking so long. The lady apparently wanted like her $500 check cashed in like 20s and then 10s, and all of a sudden she wanted $50 and $2 bills.
$50
and like a roll of gold dollar coins and like all this crazy stuff. They finally get it, and I walk up and they're like, I'm like, what? I don't care, whatever, however you want to cash it. Like, okay, but actually, can I get the last $10 and $2 bills? And they went, oh, I hope we have enough. And it turned out that I got the last 5 $2 bills in the entire bank.
And you're talking the Canadian $2 bill?
No, this is American.
Okay, because I know we also had the $2 bill.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, actually, I still have some around here. I should take a picture or something. I can put that up on Twitter.
I've got Canadian pennies.
Yeah, I do too.
Is there still an elk on the Canadian quarter?
The caribou? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, all of our coins tend to have, let me see.
Animal.
Yeah, they have an animal.
Doesn't the nickel have a beaver?
Except for the penny. The nickel, yes, has a beaver.
Yeah, because the penny had a maple leaf.
That's right.
I know your currency better than I know your politics.
Oh, that's fine.
Your currency is worth more to me.
Well, you use
in 2 ways.
You use currency more often but then again, you don't because you don't typically run across Canadian money. So
I don't know. Maybe at some point I might wind up in Canada.
It's a nice country. I like it. I think I'll keep it.
Yeah, well, considering that Canada only has 2 seasons, which is winter and construction. It's just for me to get up there.
I wouldn't say that. We actually have actually one thing my wife had commented on when she moved up here, that she actually has seasons because she was from down in Louisiana. And
oh, okay.
So they basically had hot, and then I was down there for winter. Their winter, actually, I like our winter better than theirs because the humidity makes their cold, even though it's not as cold, really sharp. It's like a really biting cold when they get it down there. But no, we've actually got like 4 seasons. The summers get up to I have to put it into Fahrenheit. I
was thinking you're gonna say summers they get up to 20 degrees.
No.
And all the American listeners going, that's still cold.
No, our summers up here, we've had days where it's hit 40, and that's about 104 Fahrenheit. So it can still get pretty toasty up here.
What territory do you live in?
I'm in Ontario, northern Ontario. I'm above Toronto a ways. I don't like giving my exact location away, but yeah, I'm a little ways. We'll say north of Toronto. Basically, we get it on the sales.
Well, hold on. By the way, Ontario is also a town in California.
Yes, I was aware of that.
You could have just said, I'm from Ontario, and confuse anybody.
Well, they would have got really confused, with the next part, because it's basically the...
I can't see that getting 114 degrees in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we actually when you look at the Celsius scale, we get about as cold as we get hot. So we get basically 40 degrees above, and then in the winter we can get minus 40 degrees Celsius. So let me see, what would minus 40 be in Fahrenheit? That's right, I forgot. Minus 40 is minus 40 in Fahrenheit. Yeah,
that's odd.
So yeah, we actually have a very wide range of we'll say temperatures and seasons where I'm at.
So how often do you hang out on the Hudson Bay?
Hudson Bay. I don't think I've ever been to the Hudson Bay.
Or is it James Bay closer?
James Bay would definitely be closer.
True fact, the guy that discovered the Hudson Bay is the same guy that is the reason why New York has the Hudson County.
Okay.
It's named after the same guy.
Fun fact. Cool. All right. I think we've gone way off topic at this point. Is there anything else you want to add before maybe because we do have limited time, so I want to jump onto maybe one of these other topics. But
yeah, well, the follow-up thing because we had talked about in the last one, I couldn't figure out the name of the video game.
That's right.
Has the head that comes up and says, where did you learn how to draw? Where did you learn how to fly?
Yes.
Cybermorph.
That it does sound like okay. Yes,
it's Cybermorph.
Cybermorph. Yes, he was right. Sorry. Before the show, we were talking.
Derek was right.
Derek was right. He was like, "Oh, that sounds like Cybermorph." I'm like, "Okay, I've never even heard of that, but all right, cool." So, okay, Cybermorph. I'll have to look up at screenshots at that right now. So, go ahead and carry the conversation.
If you would go on and watch the podcast on YouTube, I show the actual footage of the game.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll do that.
And then there was with EB Games. It was founded as Electronic Boutiques in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
That is an interesting name of a town, King of Prussia.
I know, it's like they want it to be Russia, but they're like, we can't. We need to change the name just a little bit.
Well, Prussia was a German state.
Oh, okay. I guess Germany then. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
the name, the way you said it, made it sound like Russia, just with a P at the front. So that's why I was
originally I thought when I was like middle school and heard Prussia, I thought, oh, is that like the Polish part of Russia?
Polish part of Russia.
Because I know Russia and Poland are very close in borders, so I figured a section of it was they were both Russian and Polish, so they just were Prussians. Okay. Until I found out, no, it's not. It has nothing to do with Russia. Anyway, in 2000, it becomes EB Games. In 2005, GameStop took them over with a $1.44 billion takeover.
Dang.
Yeah, that was expensive.
Yeah.
And apparently, EB Games was being international in the United Kingdom, got bought out, and they disappeared.
Huh.
And now they're just they're coming back into the English market.
Yeah, because I know Australia also has EB Games. Yeah. And that would make sense because in the last one I remember recalling, was it 98 or 99, I had gone into it and it was still called Electronics Boutique. So you said it changed name in 2000. So yeah,
2000, yeah.
Yep, so that lines up. My memory was working right for once. Nice.
Yes, and then we also had mentioned, I mentioned the Gary glitch in Minecraft.
That's right. Yes, the
right?
Funny typo.
Well, the title update comes out and that's fixed, but a worse glitch, the worst glitch I've ever encountered.
Is it a glitch or a typo?
Oh, it was a glitch.
Okay, let's hear it.
I go open a chest. What happened? The game's not moving.
Formatting drive C.
No. If you were playing Minecraft on your Xbox 360, you open a glitch or the crafting table, the game would crash.
Oh. Wait.
And I'm like, well, I can't play this for another 6 months until they come out with the next title update.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second, the crafting glitch, isn't that like integral? Because I don't really play Minecraft.
Yeah,
but
it's like if you were playing Elder Scrolls and you went to go turn the map on.
Yeah,
and it crashed.
Like I play Terraria and Starbound, and there's crafting tables there which you use fairly regularly, so I can kind of relate to that. I'm like, yeah, you kind of need those.
Yeah, and so it would just crash, and I even tested it on creative mode, and it did the same thing.
So you're playing this on console?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so a week later, they bring out the title update 45, which is a patch for just the 360 to fix it because they screwed up. They apparently did not test the 360 version with that update.
Gotcha. Yeah. When it comes to stuff like that, like I don't know, games like that, I would prefer to play it on a PC just because of the amount of we'll say extra memory. No, actually, it's an objective reason. Like the worlds can be larger and stuff due to the larger amount of memory. Because the 360 only has how much RAM does it have? I don't remember. I
don't know.
mentioned this. I'm sorry, because you said I was biased about PC. I love my consoles. I love my consoles. But
as towards
the Xbox 360 does.
No, well, the only console I only know of one console that you have, and it's the Wii U or the Wii.
I have. Oh, should I go into a whole list of this? I'll go into a list in just a second.
Because I know your brother's got the Turbo Graphics.
Yes, he's got more than just that. So I think he might also have my old Virtual Boy. But anyways, the 360 has a.
You mean the box of red?
Yes, the box of red. As the 360 has 512 megabytes of RAM, which means it can sort of hang on to, we'll say, 512 megabytes, of memory to go ahead and at any one time. Now, for comparison, my very crappy laptop, the one that is currently dying, has 8 gigabytes, which is 16 times more RAM than the Xbox 360, which means my worlds and everything, if I were to play Minecraft on there, could be up to 16 times larger, provided the support for.
Well, I know the PC version has infinite worlds.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not. I'm not saying that for reasons of bias. I'm saying that for reasons of objectively, this PC version is superior.
Oh no, you're still being biased.
Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and talk about
because in this country, facts don't exist. It's only opinions.
Oh, that's right. It's all about feelings. So my list of consoles. I'll go through a sort of a quick rundown here.
Are you going to add the Nintendo Switch to it?
I will likely, depending on a few factors that I'm waiting on. I'll get to that.
So it won't be on launch day.
Probably not, because I'm too darn poor and I'm trying to save up for a new computer so that I can continue doing stuff on my channel.
Yeah, because I kind of you do need to put out some Arma videos.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do that for a while, but I can't. Actually, I may have Arma 2 working semi-stably, so I might be able to start doing that again, but Arma 3 is just completely out. But anyways, we'll see, my consoles. I had an Atari 2600, but that one is no longer with me, so I've got a Coleco Gemini, which I actually showed off in my haunted house video on my channel. So if you right near the
I did watch it.
Saw that. So I do have
and I was completely going, wow. I always knew Jason was a retro gamer, but that's really retro.
Oh yeah, I've got the Coleco
Gemini. You can record it.
Well, I explained in the video that I had to use emulation for that one, but because the Atari 2600 and the Coleco Gemini, which is basically just an Atari 2600 just relabeled, it would be like if Microsoft were to create the Microsoft PlayStation 4, basically. Obviously, there are laws against that now, but back then they were able to sort of kind of. Well, no, I think they still had to pay licensing fees. But anyways.
Well, Microsoft would just call it it'd be the station player.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways. Yeah, I had to use
Microsoft Gemini.
Yeah, because it's a very simple hardware. It was able to be emulated at 100% accuracy, and that's kind of one thing I sort of aim for. So that's why I let myself use an emulator for that. But I would rather use the actual hardware. After that, I've got my NES. There's my Sega Genesis.
Side note, in the UK they call it a NES.
Yeah, it's an acronym, so I'll spell it out. I guess you could say it either way, but I prefer NES. So
yeah, so do I.
So I've got my NES,
SNES,
my SNES, my Sega Genesis, my brother's got the Sega CD. I've got a Sega Dreamcast and a Sega Saturn. There's my original PlayStation, my Nintendo 64, my GameCube, my PlayStation 2, my PlayStation 3, my original Xbox, the Wii U.
But no 360.
I had two 360s. They both red ringed, and I gave up on Xbox.
That's right, because I told you it's a Canadian thing.
That's right. Yeah,
that the Canadian ones were made worse.
But it was a across the board thing. The 360 was notorious for the red ring, but
mine's still going.
Have I mentioned all of my my current consoles? I think.
But no Jaguar?
I don't have a Jaguar. No, I don't.
No NVIDIA Shield?
Well, if we're going to get into handhelds, then that's a whole other thing as well. No, my brother's got a Neo Geo. Both, I think he has both the arcade and the home console version.
Wait, there was There's one of them. One of the old consoles I was looking at. I was like, I think Nintendo just looked at somebody else's idea and reprinted it. I think it was one of. It's like Turbo Graphics had a portable version that looks like the Nintendo Switch.
Oh yeah, oh come on, what was the name of that? I wanted that back in the day. I know what you're talking about. There was a handheld version of the TurboGrafx, and because that was really cool because the TurboGrafx had those the Hue cards, the game cards, and you could use the same. If I'm remembering correctly, you could use the game card on your TurboGrafx or plug it into your handheld, so you could actually. Actually, yeah, it was kind of Switch-like. Actually, let me double check that.
It's the Turbo Express.
Yes, and
was a fully portable version of the console and also had an optional TV tuner accessory.
Dang, that's the Switch.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it right now.
Yes, thank you for reminding me about that. That's right. I remember that now. I was like, oh, I want that. I never got it, but I wanted that. Yeah, I'm like, oh man, I could play Keith Courage on the go, man. I don't know if I'd want that, but Keith Courage was an interesting game.
No, oh damn it! What is that? The stupid. It was I think it was Jaguar had that.
What?
I can't remember his name. It's the little caveman with the
Bonk.
Yes.
Yep. I was. That's the first thing I thought about. I was like TurboGrafx. What game did I have on the TurboGrafx? I had Keith Courage. I had Bonk's Revenge, and there was a couple others. There was Blazing Lasers, which is known as Gunhead in Japan, and then there was Aeroblasters. I think those were the 4 main games I had for my TurboGrafx growing up. Parents sold it or something, so that's why I don't still have it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, what was it? There's oh damn it! I forgot what. There's another one that I was going to ask you if you or your brother has. Apple Pippin?
No. No.
Look, people they dump on that all the time as being like this horrible console, but truth be told, that was the first console that had internet.
Wait, the what?
The Apple Pippin came with the internet browser, and then a few years later, the Dreamcast has it, and then everything else has internet.
Let me see. Apple Pippin. It's 95, and so it had the internet browser.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is actually, yeah, that's really interesting. I'd always we'll say credited the Dreamcast for that because that was my first. But the Dreamcast though was the first one that really did online multiplayer though.
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
Essentially that, but it's like the Switch took this old Turbo Express and went, that's a good idea. Let's improve on it.
That is, yeah. I'm like, that's right. Didn't it have I'm trying to remember the Turbo Express. I'll have to take a look at it. But didn't it have like a TV tuner thing to watch TV?
Apparently, I don't have one.
I remember that. I remember being able to be like, oh yeah, and you can pull up like an antenna or something and be able to watch TV on the go with it. Yes, okay, I remember that now. Oh, that's crazy. I'm gonna have to go ahead and after this go look up some Turbo Express stuff.
Wait, you said you have handheld ones. Do you have a Nomad?
A Nomad.
The Genesis Nomad?
No. I when it comes to the handhelds, I am mostly Nintendo with. I think that's what I've got the
Wonder Swan.
I do have the Wonder Swan and the Nokia N-Gage. Actually, I've got 2 or 3.
Of course, the N-Gage.
2 or 3 Nokia N-Gages actually.
I was actually going to make a video. It was going to be the top 20 Nokia N-Gage video games.
Good luck.
Unfortunately, not one of those games has made over 1 million.
Yeah, and good luck trying to find the video for them.
Well, I just would need a picture because for that series, it's all slideshow.
Okay. Well, I could tell you the games that I thought were really good for it. I don't know if I could say 10 of them, but.
I also want to point out that the 7th gen and 8th gen are still going.
Well, even if you want to get really technical, what is it? The PlayStation 2 was still going for, actually, it was even up to a couple of years ago. But so
yeah.
I think it's safe to say that we're currently in the 8th gen. Actually, that's just an interesting thought or thing I'd like to maybe talk about. The 8th console generation, I feel like it's kind of changing up, we'll say, how we define generations. At this point here, it's like, we've had sort of clear lines. All right, this whatever the successor is tends to be part of the next generation. The GameCube came after the Nintendo 64. That was a generational gap. But now we're starting to see these revisions a little bit more. And it's like, do we consider these entirely new generations, or are these more of, half steps within the same generation? Well, I feel like they're kind of almost...
Because my 360 is a second gen.
Yeah, but it's still it's still a 360.
And then you have with the Xbox One, you have the new gen, which is the Slim. I put that in the same generation. It's like the second version.
Yeah, but the big difference, the thing that sort of makes this a little bit trickier to classify is that this is the first, we'll say, generation where the next sort of revision is functionally superior, or it's different, because your Xbox 360 still operates like an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
But we'll say the Scorpio, I think, is actually going to be superior to the original Xbox One, or the new PlayStation 4 is going to be superior to the original launch versions of the PlayStation 4. So there's a power difference, there's an actual functional difference between these. So it's like, do we consider these still part of the 8th generation and just sort of see this as kind of maybe the transition to more PC-like, we'll say, life cycles for systems going forward? Or do we break this out and say, well, no, this, even though it's still called the PlayStation 4, because it's functionally different, we're going to classify this as a 9th generation?
No, I think they're still 8th.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like, I still consider, like, my new Nintendo 3DS to be the same generation as the regular 3DS.
Oh, yeah, because there was a second version of it.
That's right. And it actually has, I think it has a little bit more RAM and a faster processor in it, which allows it to play some games that you can't play on the original 3DS. So I can get my Xenoblade fix on the go. I love Xenoblade Chronicles, both of the games. They're amazing.
I'm looking at the Xbox One Slim controller. That's nasty looking.
Is it?
It actually kind of resembles the Pippin controller. Because the bottom of it comes to a point.
Let's see here. It doesn't look that bad.
Oh, this is a lot. Wikipedia has the launch model for the Xbox One as being $499.99. That was not the price when they came out over in this state. It was on sale in my area for $800.
You want to see a really ugly Xbox controller? Go look up the original Xbox controller.
Oh, no, I have one.
Oh, you got one? Like the original?
That was a monster, and then the 360 is perfect.
Well, there was two models for the original Xbox. There was an original, and then there was a smaller one that they made.
Yeah, it's a hand-me-down, and it's the first, when they first came out. That's what my brother got.
With the oval buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah. That controller.
Actually, I got the game sitting in my closet.
Nice.
That thing red ringed.
Did it?
Yeah, with the Halo 3 in it.
Wait. Oh, you mean the 360? Okay.
No, not the 360. Microsoft Xbox.
Halo 3 was not on the original Xbox.
Halo, I think it was 3.
Nope, 3 was not on.
Or Halo 2.
I know, because those are the only Halo games I can play are 1 and 2, because I only have an original Xbox. So 1 and 2 are the only ones on the original Xbox, which actually sold garbage. It was terrible.
What do you mean it sold garbage?
It was terrible. It did terribly. That's it was we'll say on paper the most powerful system of that generation, but it got totally demolished by the weakest console of that generation, which was the PS2.
Yeah, well, it's the first entry. No one really, we don't really care about Microsoft. PlayStation's better. And then it's not too bad. 360 comes out, and I think that was outselling the PS3 for a while.
Well, yeah.
And now the PS4 is outselling the Xbox One because...
Yeah, it's because Sony got a little bit... I think they got a little bit cocky, and their marketing was terrible for the PS3. Like that price point was terrible. Actually, price point. I want to get your thoughts on what you think the Switch's price point needs to be and what you would like it to be. But
well, how much is it now? What is it listed as?
The Switch?
Did they announce how much it was going to cost?
I don't think we have any prices. That's why it's all speculation right now.
Oh, there's a Wikipedia page for it.
I'm pretty sure we've got we have no information about what the price is going to be on the Nintendo Switch. But personally, I would like $200 Canadian because I'm poor and I would really like to be able to afford one. But realistically,
No, it's going to be 400. It's going to be 416.
400 and
416.
16 based on what? That's a really weird number.
That's what the Xbox 360 cost in euros when it debuted.
Oh, I don't think that the Nintendo Switch will be able to sell at that price point.
No, because Nintendos are usually cheaper.
Yeah, and they need to be, especially because
I think the Wii U came out, it was like $300.
Yeah. So it was like $350 actually, the Wii U.
It was like it comes out like, what? The PS4 is like $500. The Xbox One's $800. $350?
Well, was it really that high at launch, the PS4 and the Xbox One?
Well, like I said, in my state, the Xbox One was ridiculous. It was $800 when it first came out.
Oh, okay. I wasn't really,
because it came out and then it was like the end of the year. I think it came out like for like Christmas.
Okay.
So GameStop was just selling it for twice the price because they know people are going to buy it.
I don't think they can do that, but okay. Anyways, the topic for the Switch, what price can you see realistically them selling that at? Not what you think they're going to do, because that answer could be off the wall crazy because it's Nintendo. But what do you think it would be a good price point for them to actually be competitive?
I think if they sold it for $500, they would still be competitive because this is so innovative.
No, I think it would crash and burn at $500.
Well, there's hardcore gamers that will pay for that.
There's also you also have to consider that this is sort of also seen as sort of a handheld. And a lot of people they have in their mind, the price point for like the 3DS.
Yeah, it's like
it's not necessarily about what it's worth. It's about what they can actually sell at. Because consider the Vita. The Vita sold very poorly, and one of the reasons was obviously the lack of support in games. But the price point did not help the Vita at all.
The Vita.
Yeah, the PS Vita.
Because I'm looking at the technical specifics, and it says NVIDIA. I'm like, is he not pronouncing the N in his name?
No,
the PS Vita.
I'm using that as an example of, we'll say, a botched high performance handheld. So I think that Nintendo. I'm obviously a little bit skewed because I'm using Canadian prices, but I think about the Wii U's price at launch. I think what they want to be targeting though is probably closer to the $300 range, $299. And I realize that that's a tall order, but from what we've seen in design, it looks like they've stripped out a lot of stuff. So I'm really hoping that they're trying to cut costs so that they can offer it at a really low price point, because
no microphone in the controller.
Yeah, stuff like that. I honestly think that a lot of people.
I didn't know that existed until you mentioned it in your podcast.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are going to be wanting this as a secondary system, not necessarily a primary, and they need to price accordingly to fit into that sort of demographic. For me, it'll be a primary, but we'll say the landscape has changed. The market's very different. A lot of people, they see this, they're thinking if they want graphical powerhouse, they're going to go with one of the other big systems, because the other big systems are still going to be able to put out better graphics than what the Switch can. But if they like that on the go aspect, that kind of I'll go here and there, sort of gameplay, and they want the Nintendo stuff, they will likely pick it up as a secondary console. And I don't feel that anything above 300, maybe 350 is kind of pushing it here, but I think anything beyond that would be a danger zone for them.
I don't know. I think like $300.
Yeah,
would be a good price. But I'm staring at this picture, going, it's handheld.
Yep.
$220. It's like $250.
Well, consider I'm also using Canadian prices, so if you go ahead and do the conversion, we're probably thinking.
No, I'm saying what, $250 Canadian.
Oh, you think? Well, like I said, that would be ideal.
Because essentially, I'm talking to a Canadian, so I'm talking to you in your currency.
Gotcha. Just like how I convert things to crazy. I mean Fahrenheit. Sorry, I had to take that job. But no, okay.
You know what? Fahrenheit is much better than Kelvin.
I don't know. I like Kelvin.
He's a nice guy, but his system of temperature is nuts.
It's not that nuts. It's actually
positive temperatures are still negative in Kelvin.
Well, do you know what Kelvin is, right?
Ridiculous.
Zero represents absolute zero, when things can't become any colder, and then it goes up from there. Kelvin is basically just Celsius with the zero, say, repositioned.
Yeah, 4 spots over.
Yes. Well, it's like 200 and I can't remember what absolute zero is in Celsius. It's like -2 something. Anyways, something like that.
Oh, my alarm just went off.
So it's like your house alarm, someone breaking in. It's like, yes, I like to have music on whenever people break into my house.
my alarm clock, and it was the Kinks. The absolute zero Kelvin is equal to negative 273.15 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Negative 459.67 degrees Fahrenheit. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I actually like Celsius better.
Well, yeah, like for we'll say everyday type stuff, yeah, Celsius is definitely better, but at least with Kelvin, you still have an equal distance between each unit of temperature. Like imagine if you were like measuring distance and you're like, well, the first 10 we'll say this first 10, okay, well, I'll switch things to miles. The first 10 miles is this far, but the next 10 miles is actually 20 miles in length because they're a little bit more stretched.
Wait. How many meters are in a kilometer?
1,000.
Right?
Yes.
How many feet are in a mile?
I don't know.
It's like 1,482.
Yeah.
0.4. That's ridiculous.
Exactly. That's why the metric system is great.
That's why I work in a hardware store.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And there's plenty of times I'm going, I hate you, Imperial. Why can't we use metric? I still want to be able to drive miles per hour.
Actually, I am pretty much out of time at this point. Do we have any, let's say, final thoughts or maybe little quick things we want to add in before we plug ourselves?
Well, we got the NX. Wait, because it's November, and in like 2 weeks we're celebrating Thanksgiving in this country.
Yes.
But you didn't. You already did.
That's right. We did it.
Why do you guys celebrate in October?
Because well, see, we like to have a little bit of the autumn, the sort of the fall environment around. If we go ahead and wait until November, there's a lot of times where we end up with snow, and it doesn't quite feel like Thanksgiving. It'd be like having Christmas in the middle of summer. It doesn't feel like Christmas. So
well, it's supposed to be because Jesus wasn't born in December.
Yeah, this is true, but
he was born like August or something like that.
Well, this is true, but technically, if you really want to get nitpicky, depending on who you are, they could say that technically Christmas was the winter equinox, and it was actually some pagan holiday. But then the Christians decided they were going to go ahead and co-opt it.
The Catholics decided to cover over the pagan.
Yeah.
No, put it in August. Everyone will be a lot more happier in the summer.
Yeah, but then you can't market that. The magic of Christmas has snowflakes and stuff like that. So at this point, there's no going back.
I hate snow. It's one of the few things I actually hate, which is why I can never be a Canadian. Too much snow up there.
All right, have fun with your no snow and walls and stuff.
Yeah, and our lakes all year round.
We have lakes. We get to skate on them
and play ice hockey.
That's right. There's no sport more macho than hockey.
Rugby.
Okay, maybe rugby. We'll say there's some parity. They're on par there. Because you think about the speed that you're moving at, and you're like,
But you go a lot faster if you weren't wearing so much padding to keep you warm.
It's not just to keep you warm, it's so that you don't break your face.
Well, if you were playing rollerblading hockey, like street hockey, it'd be different.
Well, that's why we have free healthcare. Another rollerblading incident. Yeah. All right. So I guess we'll go ahead and we'll say plug our stuff. We've been sort of all over the place, but if you want to sort of lock us down and find out where we typically reside, where can we find you?
Two places.
He exists in two places at the same time. He's like multi-present.
Yes. See, I got my main channel is Azrael Enterprise. My second channel is Space Hopper.
Space Hopper. I did not even know that this existed. Why did you never tell me this? What kind of stuff is on that channel?
Science.
Is that the name
it's all science stuff.
Is that the name of the actual channel?
Yeah, that's the channel name. But the series that I have on there is called Defying the Stars.
Yeah, you might need to. We'll say pop in the name of the video series, Defining the Stars. To find it when you look at search, because we get a bunch of other videos when you type it into search. But yes, it is Space Hopper, or you can just go to to youtube.com/user/space.
Yeah, that's not set up. It's just like UC/W. That's all crap.
Gotcha. So that one tends to be a little bit more, we'll say, science. And the first one you mentioned, Azrael Enterprise, it's Azrael.
Whoa, it's a Z, not a Z.
It's a Z.
Z.
My corner of the internet happens to be in Canada, so we're going to say Z.
Why is that letter and no other letter has its own name?
Because we can.
It's a Z. Why do you and the and the Brits call it a Z.
I don't know. I like it.
I've never understand that.
Unless I'm saying Dragon Ball Z, then I don't say Dragon Ball Z. It's Dragon Ball Z.
Because if you did, I would reach through the internet and slap you.
Anyways, I spelled Azrael and then Enterprise. You can find that word in the dictionary if you need help spelling it. Awesome. And you can find me at many different places. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug my website. And from there, you can click on contact and get, my email, my Twitter, my everything. So you can go to bluescreen.ca. That's SCREEN.ca. There's no E.
Why is it without an E?
Why is there no E? Well, originally, I think I was trying to, one, I wanted to sort of stand out, but two, it was also kind of the idea of there being an error, so I put an underscore where the E originally was. So the original spelling of Blue Screen was actually BLU underscore to note that there was a corrupted or missing letter, and then SCREEN, but then over time it just became easier just to type BLU SCREEN, especially considering I put the underscore Jason for my name.
I originally thought that, maybe that's how the French spelling is?
Nope. French spelling.
Or because there's French and then there's Quebecian French. So I thought maybe in Quebecian French it's spelled with BLU.
So, yeah, you can go ahead to that site. It's where I occasionally remember that I do a webcomic, and sometimes I'll update it. But you can go up right up at the very top. It says Contact. You can go ahead and use that to find links that will lead you away from my very ugly website, such as my Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, which apparently I have a Reddit that I never check, my email, and my Patreon page. There are some cool people who are trying to help me out here. I think we've gone ahead and plugged things. I'm going to have one heck of a time editing this.
Yeah, so I can have... I actually had fun making the last one.
Yeah, it's been.
I think I've listened to it 4 times. I know the one day I was cooking, I had it playing.
Yeah, it's been fun. I do think. Are we still rolling?
Why not?
All right. I do feel that we might be a little bit all over the place. Maybe we need to, we'll say, focus in on each topic a little bit more. We tend to be like, oh, look, a tangent. Let's go down there. And it's still fun to do. Maybe just staying on topics and exploring all the different facets of that topic would be a little bit helpful.
Damn it.
What?
Because, trying to not go on tangents that you were talking about Quebec, and I was like, I got to tell you something about Quebec. So I took that thought and I pinned it off to the side, and now I'm going, damn it, that was for a topic from 10 minutes ago.
All right, well, we're officially after the closing. Beep, beep. See, this is an outtake now because I added the beep. So this you can go ahead and insert this in. When you're listening to this podcast, you can go ahead and just insert this into the conversation earlier. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Finish your thought.
I collect flags.
Oh, cool.
So I bought 2 flags recently, and one is the Canadian flag.
Good choice.
And the other is the official flag for Quebec.
Okay. And your thoughts?
Which I like. If I didn't like it, I would not have bought it.
I guess that makes sense.
There's actually a Canadian flag I was looking for, but I couldn't find it.
And which one is that?
Because I saw it on Wikipedia. It's the Canadian United flag.
I think I remember something
where there's
about
extra colors onto it, so it's part French, part British Canadian.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember that one. Now, there's a couple other little, we'll say little variations that I'm aware of, but I can't remember if they were necessarily. Yeah, I'm not too caught up on, we'll say, my flag history.
Actually, the flag for British Columbia is pretty cool.
I'll have to go ahead and take a look at that after we get off here. I'll go start looking at.
It's
some
like blue
flags.
and white stripes, and there's a sun on the bottom, and then the top is a Union Jack.
A Union Jack.
Yeah, it actually has a Union Jack going across the top of it.
Interesting.
Which is, why is it called British Columbia? There's no Columbians there.
I actually knew the answer to this one. I can't remember what it is, but I knew the answer to this one. Maybe we'll talk about that next time. But
that's what it's the Canadian Unity flag. It has thin blue stripes right before the red stripes on the out.
Okay, yes.
So it's the thick red, then a thin blue.
That's right.
Then the white section with the Canadian flag.
That's right. You had
the star.
You showed me that one, or you had mentioned it before, and I looked it up. You had mentioned that on Twitter. Yes, I remember that now. All right, so that is going to have to do it for us for today, this month, or I'm pretty sure we're still monthly at this point. So if you want to go ahead and get in touch with us, use the information we've given to you, comment sections, email, Twitter, whatever, and let us, give us your complaints. Awesome. And you can find me at Blue Screen, as spelt as before, with _ and that's my handle on Twitter. And you can interact with me, and I will largely ignore you, but just know that I've read what you said, because I read everything. Everyone I follow, I basically read everything they say. So, anyways, that's going to do it. Until next time, I don't have the specific.
I was waiting for you to say game on.
I was going to say it too, but then I'm like, wait a second. This is not technically a gaming thing. This is kind of just general. Until next time, just, I don't know, be awesome and stuff.
Game on!